This is the first institutional Savoy exhibition that 4 leading European institutions dedicate to the work of Robert Overby. And it is a collaboration between the Center for Contemporary Art in Geneva, where the show started in last January in 2014. The show later traveled to the Museum of Contemporary Art in Bergamo, the GAMIC, then went to the Bergen Kunsthal in Norway, and now it arrives at the Consortium in Dijon. So it's also the first institutional survey exhibition that happens in France about this artist who spent his entire life mostly in Los Angeles and who worked until 1993, so starting from the late 60s, and he died, like Robert Overby died in 1993. And we call him like sort of like one of the best kept secret of American post-war art, because basically like his work as mostly is not really like known to the most of the people. He had an exhibition in Los Angeles a few years ago, but like very few people had the chance to see his entire work shown with this complexity. There are many reasons why this artist is kind of an hidden gem. But the fact is that like for the most of his life, he worked as a professional graphic designer. He was also like responsible for designing the logotype, which is still in use for the Toyota. But despite the fact that he worked very seriously and in a very intense way on his art, he barely have had chances to show it. So like very few exhibitions he had during his lifetime, and very, very few posthumous exhibitions. So this is like, again, the first time that his work is shown with the size of an exhibition like that. The show is installed almost in a chronological way, but we also try to group the works in the rooms from a thematic point of view. Robert Overby worked with basically like the many different types of media. He started with printing, he did collage, he did sculptures, he did drawing, and then he finally like focused on painting. So the show follows this trajectory, and basically what we did was to start with some of his most iconic pieces, which are this architectural cast. So in the late 60s, Overby started reacting to what was happening in the art world, especially like in America, in terms of like minimalism and post-minimalism. And he started producing this incredible body of work that basically cast of architectural elements like doors, wall, windows, room corners, that he made with a number of materials that he was experimenting with. So we have concrete, we have resins, and finally the most iconic material that he used, which is the latex. So he was investigating the space, and he was investigating in a way like the concept of loss, the concept of absence. So in this particular room, we managed to gather 3 very important pieces from the most ambitious project that he did, which was in 1971. He managed to cast a building in Los Angeles, which was burned. This was like a 3 stories building that he entirely casted in latex. So we have like what you can see, like it's called long wall, and like another wall with 2 windows and a door. And of course, I mean, this work speaks about a lot of things. It speaks about like loss, because this house was destroyed and it was supposed to be dismantled after the casting. It's about like representation, it's about memory and loss and nostalgia, It embodies so many themes. It also like embodies the idea that the architecture has a sort of a skin, so that ages. And so like the work is a lot about what is the effect of time on things, surfaces, people. It is a work that, his entire work is a comment, I think, about like human existence and the fact that human existence is affected by time and what the consequences of this on the life of people. It's also true that like Robert Overby was extremely prolific, and he produced an extremely diversified bodies of work. So like what is striking to observe today is the fact that he had a sensibility which is very close to the current sensibility of our ears and of like the current sensibility of younger artists. This idea that you can use many different media and that you can have an sort of an inner coherence, an inner quality, despite the fact that you produce something so apparently diverse and different. So this is also like one thing that really struck me when I first discovered the work of this wonderful artist, the fact that like if you go from one room to another, you kind of have the feeling that you are visiting a sort of a group show, that like the works, they come from different artists, but then you look better, you look closer, and you understand that it was really restlessly experimenting, but that he was approaching media, different media and different ideas with something that at the core is very coherent. So this is also like something that I hope that the visitors, the viewers will get from that, like this courage to explore without fear different modalities of visual art, different materials, different sensibilities, always looking at the core of things.